This evening, Amerindian Heritage Celebrations 2022 kicked off with an interfaith service at Umana Yana. 2 men were sentenced to prison for breaking and entering and theft. The government does not foresee a large number of monkeypox infections in Guyana. In the region, Suriname introducing VAT in 2023, and internationally, UN, potential crimes against humanity in China's Xinjiang. Welcome to another broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. September is designated the Amerindian Heritage Month in Guyana. As such, Amerindian Heritage Celebrations 2022 were ushered in with an interfaith service at the Umana Yana, Kingston on Thursday, August 31st. The theme for this year's observation is Celebrating Our Traditional Culture While Building One Guyana. The event featured prayers and songs by the Hallelujah Group, members of the Baha'i Faith, Christian, Muslim, and Hindu religions. Minister of Amerindian Affairs Pauline Sukai welcomed all who participated in the service and noted that the activity is a reflection of one Guyana through the various religious beliefs present at the event. Minister Sukai said Amerindians have always been known to be spiritual in their daily practices and traditions. She said their belief in the Great Spirit has shaped the way they lived and existed for many years. This belief has also contributed to their strength and resilience as a people. The Amerindian minister further stated that the government would continue to uphold the rights of all people who practice their culture, traditions, and also acknowledge the efforts of the leadership of the Amerindian population in pursuing activities that will revive and maintain the Amerindian cultural heritage. 2 Sea Dam East Bank Demerara men were sentenced to jail when they appeared at the Diamond Golden Grove Magistrates Court to answer to the offense of break and enter and larceny committed on the dwelling house of a couple. 23-year-old Ravindra Singh of Farm and 23-year-old Kevin Kush of Herstellin Sea Dam East Bank Demerara appeared before Magistrate Sunil Sears, where the charges were read to them and the Administrative Justice Act applied. They both pleaded guilty to the offense and were sentenced to 59 months in prison. The duo were also charged with the offense of break and enter and larceny committed on the dwelling house of a male resident of Farm, which occurred on Wednesday, August 24th. Ravindra Singh pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 24 months imprisonment, which will run consecutively with the previous sentence. Kevin Kush pleaded not guilty and bail was refused. As such, he was remanded to prison and the matter was adjourned to August 28, 2022 for statements. Stick around after the break. Government does not foresee a large number of monkeypox infections in Guyana, according to the Minister of Health, and cosmetologists pleaded not guilty to the charge of cyberbullying.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony, during his Wednesday COVID-19 update, stated that he does not foresee a large number of monkeypox infections in Guyana. Guyana recorded its second case of the viral infection in a 30-year-old female on Monday, a week after the first positive case was recorded in a 50-year-old male.
I don't think we'll have large numbers of people being affected, and that's why once we're able to identify persons with monkeypox, that's why we have been isolating them to prevent further spread, and we'll continue to do that. So we don't expect large numbers.
Minister Anthony, however, is urging the public to continue efforts to curb infections by taking all the necessary precautions.
If anyone has any rashes and suspect that it might be monkeypox, then they should come into one of our healthcare institutions so that the doctors there can do a proper evaluation and we can do the laboratory tests and to make a determination.
The minister is urging the public to remain guarded and take all the necessary precautions to avoid contracting the virus. The minister is also advising persons to avoid contact with others who have rashes and urge those persons to seek medical attention.
We prefer to err on the side of caution. So many cases that would be reported to us, people with skin rashes, are not going to be monkeypox, and that's fine. We don't mind. We are going to screen them nevertheless. We are going to run the tests and so forth. So, and that's important for people to know, right? So we want to err on the side of caution rather than not doing anything.
Minister Anthony said it is difficult to trace the source of the first recorded infection. The patient has provided a list of names and contact information. However, some of the contacts are difficult to locate because he has not provided any information about them. However, the patient's immediate family and frequent contact are under quarantine. So far, none of those persons have shown any signs of the infection. The Minister of Health is urging anyone with suspected signs or symptoms of monkeypox to call the Ministry of Health's toll-free hotline for medical guidance on 0449. A cosmetologist was placed on bail when she appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Wednesday, August 30th, to answer to the charge of cyberbullying. 50-year-old Jennifer Williams of Gordon Street, Kitty, appeared before Magistrate Dylon Best and pleaded not guilty to the charge and was granted bail in the sum of $150,000. The court heard that between September 13th and December 17, 2021, at Kitty Georgetown, Williams used a computer system, that is to say a cellular phone, to publish libelous information about Brad Singh with the intent to harass and cause substantial embarrassment to him. The matter has been adjourned until September 14, 2022 for disclosure. Meanwhile, similar charges against a well-known beautician were dropped earlier this week after she decided to publicly apologize to the victim. Onika Pompeo was accused of making disparaging remarks about former soccer monarch and Guyanese artist Kwesi Edmondson on Facebook between October 29 and November 8, 2021. Pompeo, in the apology posted on Facebook, said, "Though my intentions was not to hurt Mr. Edmondson or offend him, I made a poor decision and did so. For this, I'm sincerely sorry, and I do hope that we can put this behind us and move forward in a positive light. I am sorry for the way my actions have impacted you, and I wish you all the best in your endeavors." Don't go away after the break. Ecuador becomes sanctuary for multi-billion-dollar drug trade, and FBI says Trump docs likely move in effort to obstruct probe.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now let's take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. Suriname National Assembly late Tuesday gave the green light to the Dutch-speaking CARICOM country to implement a 10% value-added tax, even as several business organizations had urged legislators to approve a lesser VAT. By a vote of 26-12, with the main opposition National Democratic Party voting against the measure and the NPS, one of the government's partners, supporting the legislation under duress. One of the three government legislators who voted in favor said, while the NPS is in favor of introducing VAT to replace turnover tax, the party had urged the Suriname government to consider its 10% proposal and come up with a lower rate. The VAT will be levied as of January 1st, 2023. Ecuador's government has increased its effort to combat illegal drugs. Criminal gangs often use the South American nation as a transit point for international drug trafficking. Al Jazeera's Lucy Newman reports.
Alexandra Bajania never knows when the next prison riot will break out. She lives across the street from Guayaquil's infamous state penitentiary.
From over there, you can hear the victims' screams, the cries for help. It's terrifying. And when the prisoners explode dynamite, you jump from the bed.
Late last year, it took police days to enter the penitentiary after 118 inmates were hacked to death and set on fire in a battle between rival drug gangs. Ecuador has become a sanctuary for the multi-billion-dollar narcotics trade. It's run from prisons like this one by local drug lords, but also by international criminal organizations like Albania's Compañía Belo. Its leader is alleged to be controlling the export of tons of cocaine from this Ecuadorian jail where he's serving a 13-year sentence. It all starts here. We went on a patrol with Special Forces police in Guayaquil, where gang violence is soaring.
Neighborhoods like this one provide the cannon fodder for criminal organizations. People who live in poverty and who have little hope of ever finding a dignified job are willing and able to help criminal organizations from abroad export their wares from Ecuador to the rest of the world.
Ecuador's geographic position and the use of the US dollar for its currency make it ideal for drug cartels. Luscious tropical fruits, especially bananas, are exported from Guayaquil's Pacific ports to Europe, Asia, and Russia. So far this year, more than 300 tons of cocaine have been confiscated in cargo. But Ecuadorian experts estimate that's less than 30% of what gets through. Small fishing boats like these and homemade submarines also take Colombian cocaine north. It's a short trip from Guayaquil to Central America and Mexico, from where the Sinaloa and Gulf cartels take the cargo across the U.S. border. Security Minister Diego Ordóñez tells us that years of permissiveness, tolerance, and corruption have made all this possible.
The problem is that the narcotics trade has penetrated politics. It's penetrated the administration of justice. That's why I say we are facing a serious threat to the very stability of the state.
The government has imposed a month-long state of emergency in the Guayaquil area, but that will clearly be insufficient to address the crisis, much less the social problems that nourish it. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Guayaquil, Ecuador.
The U.S. Justice Department says it has evidence former President Donald Trump's team was hiding classified files at his Florida home. It also says his advisors were obstructing an investigation into whether he illegally removed top-secret documents from the White House. Al Jazeera's Alan Fisher reports.
It's a remarkable photo, documents recovered by the FBI from its raid on the Florida home of former President Donald Trump. Some marked in bright red or yellow top secret, and if you look closely, others marked HCS, highly classified papers, which could have details on American spies or secret human sources. The August 8th raid came after repeated efforts by the authorities to have Trump's team return documents taken when he left the White House. Trump's lawyers claimed they had made a diligent search and they had nothing that needed to be returned, but the raid uncovered more than 100 classified documents, not just in the storage area at Mar-a-Lago, but in the ex-president's desk, the filing stating that government records were likely concealed and removed and that efforts were taken to obstruct the government's investigation.
The idea that he didn't know he was holding on to classified information and they were sitting in his desk, in his office, not just in the storage room, it's very hard to make the argument.
On Truth Social, the ex-president's social media channel, he offered up a line of defence. Terrible the way the FBI, during the raid of Mar-a-Lago, threw documents haphazardly all over the floor, perhaps pretending it was me that did it, and then started taking pictures of them for the public to see. Thought they wanted them kept secret. Lucky I declassified. But while running for president in 2016, he attacked Hillary Clinton's handling of sensitive documents, insisting no one was above the law.
My administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information.
Some of what was recovered from Mar-a-Lago was so sensitive, according to the court filing, even the FBI counterintelligence personnel and DOJ attorneys conducting the review required additional clearance before they were permitted to review certain documents. Trump's team have filed a request for a special master, an independent set of eyes, saying the FBI seized documents to which they had no legal right. But the Department of Justice says all the documents have now been reviewed, that none need to be returned because they belong to the government, not to one individual, and that Donald Trump never declassified them. And that is what could put the ex-president and his team at legal jeopardy. Alan Fisher, Al Jazeera, at the Department of Justice in Washington.
And internationally, the outgoing UN Human Rights Chief has released a damning report into China's alleged human rights violations against the Uyghur population. The long-delayed report says human rights abuses against Muslim Uyghurs stem from anti-terrorism law systems. Al Jazeera's Victoria Gattenby reports.
Michelle Bachelet's long-awaited report is a damning indictment of China's treatment of the Uyghur population. It found that Uyghurs and other mostly Muslim groups held in detention camps have been subjected to torture, including forced medical treatment and sexual and gender-based violence. Bachelet's report was commissioned more than 3 years ago and was due to be published last year. It was finally released 30 minutes before her term as UN Human Rights Chief ended.
Obviously, there's pressure from the Chinese government on the UN system, but it's the High Commissioner's job to investigate human rights crimes around the world, including China. So we're very glad to see at least the report is out. Obviously, we wish it was released sooner.
China has condemned the report. It says its policies in Xinjiang fight what it calls terrorism and provide Uyghurs with better economic opportunities.
We all know so well that the so-called Xinjiang issue is a completely fabricated lie out of political motivations, and its purpose definitely is to undermine China's stability and to obstruct China's development.
In the past, Bachelet's faced criticism for not being forthright about the persecution of the Uyghur community. Her visit to China in May was widely condemned as a whitewash, with the US State Department calling it a mistake. Human rights groups say her report is better late than never.
This is a blueprint, really, for member states, especially those who sit on the Human Rights Council, to adopt a resolution that creates an independent and international mechanism so that you can start investigating these crimes and you can start identifying the perpetrators and prosecuting those perpetrators.
This is the latest of many reports detailing human rights abuses against Uyghurs. But this one carries the weight of the UN, and those campaigning for justice hope it'll mark a turning point. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
And that is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your 3-day weather forecast. That is all for this edition of Channel 2's Headline News Update. Tune in on Friday at 5:30 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.